Okay, guys, welcome to this program. Welcome to this program. Wherever you are joining us from, we're going to make it try to bring this to the even to the layman perspective, to the layman understanding as well, because the journey that we have embarked upon, it is the journey to actually decipher or define whom our creator is, because there are many explanation and many understanding that is out there, or many philosophical analysis that is out there, but we are going to have our own philosophical exploration on what our creator is. So if you are joining us, share the video, tap the screen as we kick start in order in this journey to actually define the creator, because we are going to actually, just like you see our topic, the nature of sentience and the divine, the nature of sentience and divine, and the philosophical, we're going to be having a philosophical exploration on this topic, because in the field of physics, metaphysics, and theology, the concept of sentience and divinity spark profound discussion about the existence and the nature of reality. And by us examining the relationships between fundamental elements of the universe, such as atom, quantum phenomena, and the divine, of course, we can explore how these ideas intersect and what they imply about consciousness and creation. Because one thing that I want us to explore is to understand the creator of all. Because we know that there is primary creator, there is secondary creator. We fall to the category of secondary creator. We are talking about primary creator. We are not talking about God. Because all of us in our individually, we are God. We are gods. We are all gods. If we begin to understand the concept of God or the definition of God, it will make us to actually know that many things that we have called God in the past, they are things like us. They are people, beings like us that we've been calling God. Because God is anything that came from the source is called God. Anything that has ability to procreate is called God. Because anything that you create can call you God. So anything that is created by you, you are the God of that thing. So that's exactly the reason why we are embarking on this journey, so that we will differentiate we will bring a dichotomy, or we will bring actually the difference between the source and gods. As I have said, like I said, that we are all gods. That's why we are going to actually be exploring through quantum physics. We are exploring theology, and we are also exploring physics, because we want to find out the foundation of existence. And we are going to look into the atom. We're going to actually define atom and mechanics, because all these things, if we understand the quantum entanglement, we will know that, or interconnectedness of every creation, because every creation comes from one source, including the existence of the introduction of mechanics through, through making use of atom. I want us to understand that it all comes from one source. And this source is what we are trying to define, because if we understand the atom, we might be able to have, the knowledge, or we might be able to know the way that the creator actually behaved. Because if we know that atom might not have sentience, even though some people may say that atom have sentience, I cannot invalidate that, because of course anything that produces things that has ability to, have sentience, you might say that also that they have sentience. Atom might not have sentience, but produces things that has ability to develop sentience. So that's exactly what we are talking about, because when we come to, of course, as we are talking about, this is the existence of mechanics deals with atom. Atom deals with mechanics. Now, there is where everything emanated from, which is the source. That many people might be saying that something that looks like a human being is called God. And God is God. God is not the source. God is not the creator of universe. God is not the creator of all things. God is the secondary creator. Just like we started in the, previously, we were talking about the primaries, because we are not, we are made to undermine the primaries whilst embracing the secondary, because we've been embracing the secondary. That's why we are disconnected from the primary. And I want us also, while we are at it, we are going to explore the story that we are told about Christ or Jesus, that you may know, whatever you call it. We are going to explore and dive deeper into that story to understand or to decipher what exactly that story signifies, if it is something that is in our reality, that happened in our reality, or if it is actually a consciousness that we need to actually discover and embrace. We're going to talk about it. So, but first of all, the most basic level, atom serves as the building blocks of all matter, of matter, that we can say matter in physics. They represent the fundamental unit that compose everything we perceive in our material world. Atom. Atom, the smallest, the smallest molecule, or the smallest part of, the smallest part of it. Atom is very small, but it is called small but mighty. Smallest element, small but mighty. So, while atoms themselves are devoid of sentience, you see where atoms are devoid of sentience, this is actually the explanation of many individuals, because many people may argue that if atom produce things that has the ability to develop sentience, why will you say that atom does not have sentience? That's exactly what we're trying to connect right now, because atom is devoid of sentience, because, of course, and they still play a crucial role in the emergence of life and consciousness. Why then are they devoid of sentience? Because it is through the complex interaction of atom in living organisms that sentience arises. Sentience arises through the interaction of atom in living organisms, that sentience arises, allowing for the capacity of experience, emotions, sensation, and awareness. So, sentience arises, which brings about, the capacity of experience, emotions, and sensation, and also awareness. That is exactly how it is defined, but atom itself is devoid of sentience. Think about it. Atom is the building block of all matter, whichever way you pronounce it. Atom is the building block of all matter. Now, atom is now devoid of sentience, and through the interaction of atom in living organisms, that sentience arises, even though it is devoid of sentience, allowing for capacity to experience emotions, sensations, and awareness. It makes sense, but doesn't make sense, because how can you give out what you do not have? Think about it, because that's what we hear when we, in the studies of physics, we see that atom does not have sentience, but produce, things that has ability to create sentience, because the interaction of atom in living organisms, that sentience arises, which allowing for the capacity to experience emotions, sensations, and awareness. Why is atom devoid of sentience? So this is exactly because everything, the way we define atom is closer to the way we define the source from which everything is created. Atom does not have consciousness. Atom does not have sentience, but atom can, create ability to develop consciousness, sentience. Why? So now the relationship raises intriguing questions, because we are trying to bring a dichotomy between the source, or from the activities, or from the activities of or behavior of atom. That's exactly what we are trying to do right now, because if atom and the laws of mechanics are the source of all physical existence, pay attention. If atom and the law of mechanics are the source of all physical existence, can they be viewed as a form of God? Can they be viewed as a form of God? You see where the intriguing question arises. Can they be viewed as a form of God? Because atoms and the laws of mechanics are the source of all physical existence. This is the reason why physicians, astrophysicians, or astrophysics, or physicists will tell you that there is no God. That's why they will tell you there is no God, because they see atom behaving the same way the source of everything behaves. And that's why they come to conclusion that there is no God. Of course, they don't understand it. These are something that they find it difficult to understand, the dichotomy. To me, there are gods, because I am God, you are God, everyone is God, because anything that came from the source is God, that has sentience is God, that has ability to procreate is God. So, there is one source. There are many gods. Everything that has ability to lead and be led is God. That's something we need to understand and make peace with it, because each and every time we begin to talk about God, I pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Oh God, I pray to you. Which God are you praying to? You are praying to yourself. We pray the wrong prayer. We do everything wrongly. That's why we have disconnected ourselves from the source. That's why, because if we actually go to understand the story of Christ, which we are going to, talk about and go deeper, dive deeper into it, you will understand. I want to actually, make you to understand that it is not everything that we are told. It's not the way it is. Sometimes they are the opposite. Because right now, according to my research and my understanding, the world Messiah or the world Christ or Yeshua or whatever you may know him to be, I don't believe he was a human being who came to die. But we're getting there. We're going to come, we're going to come towards that angle. We're going to actually define it and bring it down even to the layman's understanding, because everything we are going to talk about, we're going to define, we're going to break it down to the layman understanding, because we know we are communicating to everyone. We are not here actually to just speak grammar and not make people understand what we are talking about. So what we are talking about is we are talking about the relationship between the source which everything came from, which is the creator of all. Because you cannot say the creator of human. It means that you are referring to, those who procreate. So we are talking about the source where everything came from. Where some people say that everything came from a kind of a wormhole. They call it wormhole, which is the physicist. Physicists, they might call it a wormhole. It doesn't matter what they call it, but that is exactly what we are trying to, talk about. That's why we are bringing a dichotomy between that wormhole and the atom, because the behavior of atom and actually will help us to actually define that thing they called wormhole. Because they don't believe there is God, because they believe that since atom does not have sentience and produce things that has ability to develop sentience, so that's exactly the reason why they will tell you that there is no God. So we are going to now bring it to the understanding of everyone, that we are not going to go speak like theologians or speak like physicists. We're going to bring it to the language that everyone will understand, because when we talk about that, if atom and the laws of mechanics are the source of all physics or all physical existence, can they be viewed as a form of God? You know what I can call atom? Atom is a god of mechanics or god of, physics. Atom is the god of mechanics. That's what I can call it, for you to understand how God works, how things are being, or how you can actually, call something God. This is the reason why I say atom is like the god of mechanics. Because in a metaphorical sense, while this analogy simplifies the complexity of both scientific and theological concept, it highlights the foundational nature of this element in the tapestry of existence. So that's exactly what we are talking about. Physics define the source differently from theologians or from theology. They define the source differently. The theologians call the source God, because the theologians does not understand the concept of God. Everything that has ability to procreate is a God. Now, physicists will tell you that, physicists will tell you about, matter, about atom, because atom is the building block of all physical, everything that is in existence physically. Physics is the source of every physical existence. Atom. Atom is the source of every physical existence. That is atom. Now, if it is the source of every physical existence, you might as well call it God, right? Then we go. Now, if we want to simplify that complexity of both science and theological concept, now I highlight the foundational nature of this element in the tapestry of existence. Now we go to quantum mechanics. If we can go to, or quantum physics. If we go to quantum physics, we talk about the mystery of matter and entanglement, which is when we talk about the, you see where we talk about the quantum entanglement, which connect everything together, and it keeps expanding. It keeps expanding. And now, if we talk about, or we extend our understanding further to delve into quantum physics, where phenomena like quantum entanglement reveal a deeper interconnectedness within the universe, particles can become entangled in ways that defy classical notions of separation and individuality, which suggest that everything in existence, they came from one source. They separated from one source. Everything in existence separated from one source, which it shows you that one came from the source, and they reproduced, they procreate, they continue to multiply. They continue to multiply. That's exactly what it is. Everything in existence came from one source, and that source is not called God. The source is not called God. We are not necessarily trying to find who is God, because God is actually human. You and I can be God. We are God to our children. The king of your community is the God of the community. So God, when we talk about God, we are talking about anything that has ability to lead or to be led. Those are the ones that we call God. God is secondary, source is primary. That's exactly, we are trying to, explain the dichotomy between God and the source. Just like we actually talked about atom. Atom, we are talking about, how atom actually, reflect in every existence. Atom reflect in every existence. Everything in your periodic table is made of atom, or actually, will I say, come from atom in your periodic table. So when we talk about atom, it is the God of physics or the God of physical. So it is not the source. There is that place where this atom came from, that place where every existence came from. That is the source. We cannot equate that source with God, because God is things that came from the source. So God is you and I. God is the king of the jungle. It is the God of the jungle. Anything that has ability to be led and ability to lead is God. So that means everything we are told through theology or through whichever way you call those who preach about the existence of life or who promote God, they are actually promoting lesser God. They are not promoting the source of creation, and that's why we do not have a relationship anymore with the source, because we started promoting lesser God. God is not, of course, you might not understand it well. You might not understand it. You will not understand it. I wish I could make you understand. So, okay, you say, so God, you say God could be me and you. So who created first mankind? Okay. God is me and you because we have ability to create. We have ability to procreate. That is God. Anything that can procreate is God. But of course, there are beings that are more evolved than we human. There are beings that is more evolved, both in physics or both in every spiritualism, more than you and I. Those are the beings that we don't often see in our physical reality. So we are coming, to that path of Jesus. We are coming to that path, and I am going to actually, bring, to light how he came by. Now, the explanation of God, it does not mean that he is the source. You cannot equate, God, or you cannot equate the source with God. God is secondary. God is secondary. There is something you should understand about our universe. Our universe, we do everything upside down. We are trained to actually to understand things upside down, not the way it is naturally, because our universe is actually anti-nature. Anti-nature. That's why we cannot understand the way of the nature. We go contrarily to natural phenomena. That's exactly what I'm trying to, make you understand. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus Christ. That's what we are talking about. That's what we are talking about. You begin to rebuke in the name of Jesus Christ, you don't even know. If we think about this Jesus Christ you are talking about, remove this letter J, does it mean that Jesus Christ existed from the 16th century? Because that's when the existence of letter J appeared in our reality. So, but that's actually, that's not the, I don't want to actually digress, but I want you to understand that you are God. And you've been praying to lesser God. You are not praying to the creator of all. The creator that created gods. Well, I say you must repent. You must start reading your Bible before you speak about God. All right. I read my Bible. Of course, I do. I do read my Bible, but reading my Bible and reading every other things and understanding this physical existence and trying to define it, it is actually what makes us, human being. That's what makes us evolve and learn, being able, having the ability or being open to know new things and to explore new things, because immediately when you begin to believe without research, that is indoctrination. We all have been indoctrinated. That's indoctrination that we are trying to, de-indoctrinate ourselves, because we've done everything upside down. Education system, it is not thought, it is not actually, in our favor. Spiritualism teaching is not in our favor. It is in the favor of the malevolent, and that malevolent might be the one you call God all the time and you pray to without you knowing. I want you to change the way you see things and the way you approach things. It is important for you. Okay, you say Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. Only through Jesus we will get to heaven. Okay, of course, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one cometh through to the Father except through me. I will tell you that. I will actually, tell you But I don't want to digress. We are coming to Jesus Christ things. Let us actually, finish the dichotomy between the source and the atom before we come to that, because we are talking about the interconnectedness of everything within the universe, and that is exactly the only thing that connects us to the source. And that is the same thing that is being destroyed by the malevolent who created your traditional religion. Or not really traditional religion, the religion that we know today. It is the malevolent who created them, so that they will divert your attention and they will teach you wrongly in understanding what you are and your purpose in this our physical reality. If we understand our purpose, there will be no more sin. If you understand your purpose as a God, I understand my purpose as a God, there will be no more sin. We will do the right thing. That's where you will find out when we talk about the Jesus you know, and you will understand the reason why, if we know the truth, there will be no more sin. Because even the Bible says that thou shalt know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Because the Bible also knows that there is indoctrination going on. And if we accept such indoctrination, we will be enslaved for good. That's why the truth is the only thing that will make us free. But however, let's go back to, what we are talking about. I want you to stay put, because there is something I need to clear. I need to make you understand. If you stay put, there is something I am going to make you understand definitely if you hang in there. So let's proceed. However, like atom, this quantum phenomena lack sentience. Remember, atom lack sentience, right? They operate according to the law of physics, devoid of awareness or intention. They are like robots. It is like a robot, right? Devoid of awareness and intention. Remember, if your robot is aware, if your robot begin to have intention, they will no longer need you. They will have emotions. They will destroy you. They will fight you. So that's exactly what we are trying, we are going to get at right now. And they will not judge, the way it is supposed to be. They will now, judge with their emotions. That's why atom is devoid of sentience, right? Is devoid of sentience and awareness, but it does not mean it cannot produce those. It can, but they are like dormant. They are like dormant. The process of understanding or the creation through atoms, now sentience will now, become a reality, because the things that comes from atom has ability to develop sentience, right? So the same way, the things that come from God has ability to develop sentience, because the source, not God, sorry. Of course, we know, you'll always know that the God is the higher source, but whichever way you know it, but we're talking about the real source. We are not talking about God, the real source that created God. Now, the real source does not have sentience, or the sentience in the real source is actually oppressed and dormant, but the things that came from the source has ability to develop sentience. They have ability to develop sentience, the things that come from God. because the idea aligns with many philosophical and theological concepts. If the first sentence being emerged from an initial which is the source, if the first sentence being emerged from the initial, which is non-sentient source, it implies a progression from a simple state of existence, right? Progression from the simple, state of existence. Remember, I said the source does not have emotion. The source does not have emotions because it does not have sentience. It has, but it does not make use of it. It is dormant. It is dormant. It is not active. Because if the source have sentience and emotion, each and every sin you commit, every place we go will be set ablaze. That's why the source, the creator of everything, does not work with sentience or consciousness or emotions. Those are dormant, but the things that came out of him, his creation, his expansion, has ability to develop those things that are dormant in him. That's why we are so emotional today, because we are sentient being. We are sentient being, which emerge from an initial non-sentient source. And through the progression and through us evolving, we developed sentience that is dormant from the initial source, from the source, where all of us emanated from. Anything that sentience is not active within them, they cannot actually be biased, because the creator of all can never be biased. The creator of all can never be biased. The law is the law. The code bent for no one. That's the creator of all, because it's devoid of sentience, because there is already law that is put in place called the law of nature. It is applicable to anything, the law of nature. If you define the law of nature, the consequences is actually dire. So that's why he muted that sentience in, will I call it him or it? He muted that sentience, he suppressed the sentience. That's why atom does not have sentience. Because atom is actually, the building block of everything in the physical is atom, the building block. Everything in your periodic table is made of atom. It came from atom. So, atom does not have sentience, but things that comes from atom has ability to develop sentience. Remember, atom is God of mechanic. Atom is God of physical or physics. Atom is the source of every mechanics, where every mechanics is created. That is atom. So when we talk about the higher source, the primary is the source of every existence. Everything that is in existence is from the source, including God. Because God is less than the source. The source is the higher being, the highest, where God came from. That's why your education system or your schools will tell you from the primary level that when you write it in a capital letter, it becomes we are referring to the God Almighty. When you write it in a small letter, you are referring to your deity, which is bullshit, a real bullshit. A noun is a name of a place animal. A noun is the name of a person, animal, place, or thing, right? And most of the time, when you want to actually write things that are noun, you started with a capital letter, right? So when we talk about this thing of capital G and small g, you turn it upside down, becomes dog. Now, when we talk about it, you will know that there is something missing there. They are trying to, make fool out of you. Those people who took glory for themselves and call themselves God without telling you what exactly God signifies. God signifies the king. God signifies the leader. God signifies the ability to procreate. That is God. If you are here, kindly tap the screen. Tap the screen because TikTok is letting us know that no one is here. But please tap the screen, guys. If we are here, tap the screen. Don't close yourself up in actually understanding or learning new things, because our education system and our spiritual or religious system, they've been lying to us. They've been lying to us. He said, did you see what happened to Brazil when they mocked God? Dude, there is something I want you to understand well. I am not mocking God because I am God. Anything that came from the source is God. That has sentience is God. But there is a primary source where every God came from. A primary source. God is an English word. God is an English word. English word does not predate every other, or English language does not predate every other language, right? So, your definition of God in English word, it might not be the definition of another in their own mother tongue or in their own vernac. So, God is an English word. So, you define it the way you understand it. But I am telling you right now that God is you and you are God. Because you came from the higher source and you develop sentience over time. He said he rebuked it. He rebuked it. You rebuke it. Why are you rebuking that you are God? You are God. Doesn't make you the creator of the universe. You are creator of your children and creator of anything within you. You are God. You created your children. You created things that are within your reach. But we are talking about the higher source. We are not talking about God. We are talking about the place, that where everything came from. It does not have limitation. It has no beginning. It has no end. That's what we are talking about. That's exactly what we are talking about. Where everything emanated from. That is the highest source. We are talking about number one, who expanded and, every other things emanated. That's what we are talking about. We're not talking about small things here. You cannot equate the source with God. Because even Baal or Belial was called God. Even Anunnakis were called God. And Anunnakis, actually, if you read the text, you will understand they talk about the creator of all. Even though they were called God, those who came from heaven to earth. So why are you talking about false God? It means that, when you talk about false God, that's bullshit. You sound like you don't have ability to understand. This is indoctrination. The word God is indoctrination. We praying to that is undermining the higher source. We praying to God is undermining the higher source. The higher source created God. That is it. The creator of universe, E.K. himself. E.K. himself. Your question, who is the creator of universe? Does it include sentience? Now, the creator of universe, sentience in him is actually dormant, is muted. Things that come from him has ability to evolve. Over time, they will have sentience. Because if the creator of universe activates sentience, he will not judge uprightly. He will not judge uprightly. That's why sentience is dormant. That is exactly, the reason why, because sentience creates emotions, awareness. Because once you have emotions, you can get angry so quickly. That's why if you see where people are having argument, you find people from argument, they begin to fight. From there, they begin to pull gun at each other. They begin to unalive each other because they are emotional beings. So the creator of all has everything. But he reserves some for his creation, for his gods. Can you create a rainbow? Of course, people can create a rainbow. Gods can create rainbow. Those are technologies. They are technologies. So rainbow is just, it's a reflection of light. Different color of light, reflection of different color of light. If people can create a sun, the sun after the moon, if China can own the sun, a sun after the moon, what is rainbow? We are in the same page, Wella. I am not the devil here because I believe that you might be seeing this dude as the devil who has lost it. No, I am bringing you to the reality of existence because you've been following that which you know nothing about. You've been following, the creator, the creation of the creator and calling them God. That's what you've been doing. This time around, we are going straight to the creator of everything, not the creator of some of the things. Nebuchadnezzar called himself God. Even today, America is the God of the world. But God with sentience that cannot judge uprightly, that is them. So, we understanding the concept of God and the higher source, or the source where all these gods came from, because they came from one source. That's why in quantum mechanics, they talk about quantum entanglement. They talk about the interconnectedness of everything in our physical reality, or everything that is in the universe. They are connected to each other because they came from one source, and that source is called the primary source, where every god came from. Okay, let's go back to it. I will continue to continue to tap the screen. I will continue to see your question, but let's not deviate. EK himself say you actually saying we're living imaginary life that will never end. Of course, we are living imaginary life because we are not being fed the right information. We are not supposed to be dying. In fact, we do not die, but our lifespan is cut short so that we don't know. That's why the malevolent who want to be calling himself God continue to make our lifespan short and shorter so that we cannot tell the history that we are knowing right now to our children, because as we head to the shift of the pole or the revelation, we are actually understanding more into the reality of our existence, and we are trying to decipher our purpose, because every creation from the source has a purpose. And if you discover your purpose, there is no need for you to continue to work 9 to 5. There is no need for you to continue to be stressful about we are going to die one day. Where are we going? There is no need for you to continue to be enslaved of someone. There is no need for you to actually be stressed, because you are going to work towards your own, you are going to work towards your purpose. This materialistic world is created by malevolence. That's why some people say that this is not our planet. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it that Earth is not our planet. Earth is a materialistic world. The world where we continue to live, the world where we continue to live in, we are living in imagination. We do not exactly know, if not that you know your name and you are being told this is your name, probably you might forget. Everything you are told, maybe 85% of everything we are taught is a lie. It is a lie. We are living in the world of anti-nature, because nature is God. The law of nature cannot be defiled. If you defile the law of nature, the consequences is dire. That is what people call karma. In some religious, perspective, they'll call it karma. The law of nature. That's exactly what it is. I will tell you the reason why the existence of what you call Jesus Christ today. I will tell you the reason why. I will tell you the reason why, but his stories were changed. The stories were told differently from what it's supposed to be. And the name has been changed. Promise say, no, brother, Earth is the planet, but the world is home for human being. Do you understand that the people, the beings that rule over our planet, or the ones we pray to, are living beneath our ground and beneath the sea? Do you understand it? Do you know about it? Those are the things that disconnected us from the source. Or of course, many of you know, when you say God, many of you believe you are referring to the highest authority. No, God is not highest authority. The source is the highest authority. I am is the highest authority. So when we are referring to that, he is the highest authority, but when we are referring to God, you might find out that those are living under our ground or beneath our seas are the ones who you are referring to. They are the ones leading this material world. We are living in a material world. That's why we are unaliving each other. We are doing the wrong thing, trying to obtain material things, because we are living in material world. That we cannot decipher what our purpose are. The day we decipher what our purpose are, we will no longer see ourselves in material world, where they continue to recycle us like bunch of, potatoes. You just need to, once you feel like your reserve is getting finished, the season is here, you replant a potato, it grows, you continue to eat them, and once the season is getting over, your reserve is finishing, you plant another one. We do not die. They continue to recycle us. That's why last weekend we talked about the cycle of rebirth. We talked about the cycle of rebirth, reincarnation. Many religious, in many religious tradition, the religion tradition, they call it reincarnation, Bible call it regeneration, others call it reincarnation, and then it is the cycle of rebirth. There is something that the source created, and the source, because the sentience in the source is actually dormant, the source established everything and every law, create seasons and create times that things happens. So there is time the source created. No matter how much you have suffered, no matter how much you are being indoctrinated, at some point in life, you are going to come to the time of being awoken, the time of de-indoctrinated, the time of decolonization. There is always the time to colonize and time to decolonize. So that's exactly what we are talking about here, putting it in every perspective that you may understand it. We are in the era of awakening, revelation time, where things that you are being, things that are hidden under the sun is going to come up. We're going to know the era that we are going to know. It is not the era somebody will sit in the altar to tell you Jesus Christ is coming soon. Give your right life to Christ. At the end, you do crowdfunding and give to that nigger. At the end of the day, or whoever, they take your money and they buy themselves private jets and all that. At the end, they are rich, you are poor. It's a materialistic world. Everyone wants material things. They don't want to know the truth. It doesn't mean because you are indoctrinated that the truth does not exist. Time will come when you will begin to understand that everything you are told, 85% of them is a lie. And 15% of them is the truth mixed with lie. And that truth will always be in front. So when you hear the truth, you will no longer understand when somebody begins to lie to you. Because you get carried away because you've heard one truth that you are familiar with. This is the time of awakening. You need to decipher. You need to know the truth. You need to unlearn. You need to relearn. That's the time we are at right now. That is the reason why I am trying all my best to make you understand the source by bringing by bringing physics and quantum physics, bringing a theology to try to make you understand. Sometimes we even include astrophysics to understand, to make you to understand our existence. So we move on. You say you will understand the truth after you understand the Bible. I have understood the Bible. There is no place you will actually talk about in the Bible that I cannot explain to you or analyze to you. I don't read Bible basically to cram the quotations. Bible is disjointed. I can tell you that. I should tell you that. Bible is disjointed. Bible is a physics of words. It is a physics of words, not physics of number that forms equation. I made that post a few days ago. It's a physics of words. When we talk about physics, people will begin to think that it is about things of, the way they use number to hide the truth. They use code to hide the truth. Equation in mathematics or in physics, which does not enable many people to understand physics because there are physics of words. If we begin to learn physics in words instead of in numbers and equation, many people will become interested in learning physics than they are today. Because today, people are running away from physics because of the equations and mathematics that is included there. But there are physics of words. That is the Bible. If you understand physics, because physics tells you about the existence. Physics is everything about our existence, our present reality, the universe. Physics all holds that truth. That's why it was necessary for them to code the truth in mathematics, in number, in equation. That's it. And Bible is physics of words. If you study physics unbiased, you will know God. Answer the guy. What? What? Who is Job? Are you referring to Job in the Bible? Job that you talk about in the Bible, which we talk about, Job gave up everything, even the same devil or malevolent tried Job to an extent. Job gave up everything, yet still in affiliation, because according to the words, God gave permission to that malevolent to go and try Job, right? Now you are talking about that Job. Is it the Job you are talking about, or you are talking about Job? Which Job are you talking about? Is it the Job? Yes, now where is your faith? You don't have faith like Job. Okay, thank you. Now I understand which Job you're talking about. The same thing I'm talking about. So when we talk about Job, Job is not necessarily a man that existed. Job is a metaphor. It's a consciousness. That is Job. Most of the characters you see in the Bible is a metaphor of a consciousness that human beings need to employ. That is it. So, Job is a consciousness. Job is not a human being. He wasn't a human being. So, I will leave it there. I'm not going to go deep into it. But the reason why I am answering you all that, to show you that the book you called Bible, I know the book. I know the book. There is nothing you will ask me in that book that I will not be able to analyze to you. But I don't read it to cram the quotations, the verse, the this. I read it to understand each passage that I have read. I read to understand. That's why I tell you, it is a physics of words. It is not our traditional physics of number. It is the one of words. What are the 10 commandments? 10 commandments deals with natural law. Natural law. That is 10 commandments. What goes around comes around. Thou shalt love your neighbor as you love yourself. That is law of nature. Thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife. That is law of nature. It is law of nature. Thou shalt have no other God except me, but the malevolent created the ones that are living underground, and you are praying to them. You are calling them God. That's why there is a gathering of Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. The Council of Nicaea, the rise of Vatican, the rise of religion, that is God that you are praying to. They are from underground. They are not the primary source. That's what we are talking about. He is a jealous God. He left us because he has no emotions. He created the law you must follow. That law bends for no one. Ignorance is not an excuse of understanding the law, of knowing. Bible is not necessarily a myth. Bible is physics of words. You see, the way you use your mathematical formulas or mathematical equation to understand the universe or to understand mechanics, it is the same way you use the words from the book to understand creation, even though it is distorted. That's why it tells you precept must be upon precept. When you see God, it is not God. The higher source. It talks about the higher source. Yes, mankind is hybrid. No, mankind is not hybrid. I am not an hybrid. There are people who are hybrid. They are soulless. They don't have a soul. Those who are hybrid, they don't have emotion. Any human being that came directly from the source have ability to develop emotions, because those things that the source kept dormant. That's why the book of Isaiah, I believe Isaiah 45, it talks about I am the good, I am the bad. I create good, I create bad, right? Because everything came from one source, both good and bad, right? One source. Quantum entanglement, interconnectedness of every existence. So, I am not hybrid. Anunnaki created different races, but there are already Homo sapiens sapien. Homo sapien in existence. There were Homo erectus in our reality. Before the arrival of these Nephilims, Anunnaki, the Bible called them Nephilims, right? The fallen. Now, they were the ones who created the hybrid. That's why they are also called God. He said Ike himself. That's his whole point, trying to convince us about the Bible is a indoctrination false. No, Bible is not really the indoctrination, but the way it is taught is the indoctrination. Even though it is disjointed, Bible is not indoctrination. The way it is taught to us is the indoctrination. Get it clearly. Hear it clearly. It is not taught to us the rightful way. That's why the Council of Nicaea and Vatican and those who introduce religion to divide and to rule actually initiated what they call theology, where you go to get indoctrinated in a way that you know how to indoctrinate others. People use the same formula to indoctrinate the world. To indoctrinate the world. If I see Bible as a false, if I see Bible as indoctrination, I will not be using it to tell you, to talk to you. I will not entertain it, but instead I will tell you about it. I don't teach this with emotions. I teach it with the reality of my own research and understanding of our existence. Bible is not indoctrination, but the way we are taught Bible is the indoctrination thereof. Do you know the Bible predicts everything happening today in today's life? Of course. Before you will know what I know today, you must have read the Bible and understand it. If I haven't read the Bible, I will not understand or know what I know today. That's it. You have to read the Bible before you go to physics, astrophysics, before you go to quantum physics. You need to understand that Bible first, because that's why I say it is a physics of words. If we understand our universe, we will understand technology. We will understand our purpose. Why do you think people are going to the moon, of course, the rest of them is exaggeration. People can go to the moon. If it is a solid matter, people can go to the moon, because the moon is not necessarily out of our firmament. The moon is within us. So people can go to the moon if it is a solid matter. Now, but when someone tell you they pull off the planet Earth, that's a lie. So, but that's a topic for another day. We'll go into it when we are talking about, when we go to astrophysics, we will talk more about it, or when the day we are talking about what do you call it? The study of it's not geometry, comes before geometry. So when we are going to geography, we will talk about those and our world more. But today we are talking about the dichotomy between the source and atom. between the source and the atom, like we talked about previously about darkness, which is the primordial state of creation. Darkness is the primordial state of creation. That's why the malevolent, it was important for the malevolent to make the people of dark skin to lose their mind, to forget, to be indoctrinated. Because indoctrination was meant for people of dark skin, the originals. That's where what indoctrination was meant for. It is not necessarily meant for everyone, but it affected everyone today, including people with, lighter skin, or including people with, with no melanin. And that's why if we talk about the, transferring of consciousness from the malevolent to human, the human that are susceptible to those are the people with green and blue eyes, because a lot of them are hybrids. A lot of them are hybrids. That's when we talk about hybrids. The green eyes and blue eyes, they are susceptible to malevolent being, using them to destroy the world with the blood type RH. It's a topic for another day. My brother, between night and day, which one comes first? Night comes first, of course. You don't need to ask that question. Darkness is the primordial state of creation. Night comes first. In the absence of the sun, the moon, everywhere is actually going back to the source, darkness. There is no night and day. There is no year and month. There is nothing like that. Every day is the same. Darkness. Every day is the same. Darkness. Read the book that you cherish the most. In the beginning, Genesis 1. In the beginning, Genesis 1. Right? How do you make sense of night? How do you know that it is nighttime? How do you know it? I am asking you, Promise Rampellen. How do you distinguish, night from day? No. You say we come from higher source. Can't you see higher source is God? No. God is not higher source. God is king. God came from higher source. So he is not higher source. So let there be light. Genesis 1 verse, I think verse 6, within that area. Now, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and there is darkness in the face of the deep. Which one comes first? Before let there be light, what was it? The nighttime. So, darkness predates all. Darkness predates all. Darkness is actually divinity. It is not malevolent. Darkness predates all. That's what they want you to believe, that darkness is evil, so that you see people of dark skin as evil. That's what they want you to believe, because they want to make you believe that light is divinity. Light is not divinity. Light is secondary. Darkness is primary. That's why if we talk about hues, the colors, you find out that in the dark color, or the black color, encompasses all color that is in existence. Black color is the primary color. The black is the primary color through which every color emanated. Through which every color emanated. The same way Homo sapien was dark, through which every other race being emanated. So that's why they want you to believe that darkness is the devil, so that you vilify yourself as dark-skinned person. And they told you that light, which is hybrid, is the divine. There is no such. Make it make sense. How can you? Darkness is actually, when we talk about dark skin, we talk about melatonin, we talk about melanin, we talk about extra oxygen, extra carbon, we talk about extra hydrogen, we talk about, when we talk about dark, we talk about melanin. How then are you going to be stronger than your own God? Like you know it, the way it is presented to us. Darkness is divine. Without darkness, okay, how do I put it? Darkness is the primary source. If you remove the sun and the moon up there, dude, everywhere blends back to the source. That's the way it is. Everywhere blends back to the source. One moment. Guys, tap the screen. Tap the screen as we proceed. Tap the screen as we proceed. I'm trying. Okay. Guys, tap the screen as we proceed. Tap the screen as we proceed. Right. Let's continue. Let's continue. Now, if we talk about this issue, but it is making me to digress. It is making me to digress. The questions of this is making me to digress. You say, even darkness, do you understand the difference between Creator God and according to home language? Brother, night is hybrid. Night is not hybrid. Read the book that tells you about light and darkness, because you talked about let there be light. Was there light before darkness? So how can primary becomes hybrid? It is through darkness light came forth. From darkness light came forth. Darkness is not hybrid. Light is hybrid. Light is artificial. Darkness is primordial state. These are the things we need to unlearn. Now, we go to, where are we going? Let's see. Even darkness is primary, but the light still defeats the darkness. The light does not defeat the darkness. Everything comes at its own season. The only thing that stays put is the source, the primary source. Regardless of where you go, at the end of the day, you go home, right? Everything you do, at the end of the day, you go home. Light has its own time. Darkness has its own, in fact, darkness does not have its own time. Once the light is turned off, darkness appears. There is no during the day, there is no during the night. It's all the same. It is the sun and the moon that actually, separates those. Otherwise, it is darkness. God never removed darkness, or the source never removed darkness. The creator of all never removed darkness. He never called it evil. It is the church that called darkness evil. It is the church. It is not the creator of all. Because if you read the book that the church claim it is their book, which is not their book. The book talks about the angels hovering around the waters in the dark. And they were enjoying themselves. That's why they were hovering, enjoying themselves, because they are not complaining. It is those that came from the source, the sentience, creation, that are going to need light. They're going to need light. The creator doesn't need light. He doesn't need light. He is before the light. Or he was before the light. And still is after the light. That's exactly what it is. He is before the light. Still, he was before the light. Still is after the light. So, darkness does not disappear. It doesn't get tired. The sun gets tired because darkness controls all of them. The sun comes out and stays to its own time and go home. Darkness, stays. Darkness is always there. Then the moon comes out to give us also another light, another form of light. Because darkness brings about introspection. Do you know that without darkness, your pineal gland will not produce melatonin. Without darkness, your pineal gland will not produce melatonin, and it produces more melatonin in the dark. And darkness fosters introspection. Darkness heightens all your senses. Darkness heightens it. That's why immediately when you go blind, your senses are heightened. So darkness, you see, is divine, but it is vilified for no reason. And you continue to do the same because we are indoctrinated. We are indoctrinated. Someone say, why are you wearing sunglasses? Does my environment look so bright to you? Look so dark to you? My environment is actually bright. That's why I'm wearing sunglasses. Because it helps to actually bring down the light that is in front of me. That's it. That's why I'm wearing them. I hope it is the only thing you come here to learn. Because of your ignorance, I have answered you. That's your own problem. I have solved it. So let's move on. I wonder after you die. Then boom, find yourself in heaven and seeing the divine God waiting for you. That is a good wondering, brother. That's a good wondering. It's a good one. And I like it because it opens, it creates more, more, will I say, it actually gives us more things to talk about, gives us more things to touch on, because people understanding the concept of hell, the concept of heaven, people understanding it, it has been problematic. The reason why the church tells you about heaven and hellfire, it is part of the indoctrination to instill fear in you. When you are fearful, you cannot vibrate accordingly. You cannot vibrate accordingly. You cannot be of your full self. When you are scared, I am going to be unalive, I am going to hellfire. Dude, ask yourself a question. If the higher source is actually that mean, that after you suffering in this world, because this is a world of suffering, materialistic world. If you don't have material things, you are suffering. Now, after you suffering in this materialistic world where you don't even remember things you need to do, you will unalive. All of a sudden, boom, you find yourself burning. That's bullshit. Spare me that. It is the things you tell your children so that they stay in line. And it is indoctrination. I don't tell my children that no more. I teach them the laws I teach them to do good things. I teach them to do the right things. I don't want them to live in fear. So, those are the things that if you think about them, you will understand that we have a problem. And this fear can lead you to mental stress or mental breakdown. Fear, ordinary fear, can lead you to mental breakdown. Trauma, it can traumatize you. Think about our world. We are in hell. This earth is a purgatory. It is a purgatory. That's where we are. We are being, going through, process of until we actually reconnect back to the original source. Until we reconnect back to the original source. If you are unalive today, maybe after 9 months, 2 years, 3 years, you are coming back. That's where it talks about purgatory. That's where we talk about hellfire. Because if you unalive someone's child and your children are not, you didn't live up to the time that your children need to be unalive in front of you, you must come back so that you face that trauma. That is law of nature. What goes around comes around. That's the law of nature. Your clock, when it goes, continue to go. When it goes, it comes back. It goes again. It comes back. It goes again. We continue to do the same thing every time. We continuously doing the same thing. Law of nature. It goes around, it comes back around. So when you actually do something wrong and you all of a sudden you get unalived, you are coming back to face that music that you have actually created for yourself. That's why you see people, you see tragic things happening to good people. They are not necessarily good people. They are in the process of being good. That's why tragic things happen to them, because they are being refined of being good. But you have to face that music that you have created previously. Everything you sow, you shall reap. That is it. That's why I tell you that the creator of all, I am, Iya, is not a sentient being. The sentience is actually muted. It is not active in him. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have emotions. That's why he judged uprightly. That's why the law stays the same. The karma does not change. The law of nature does not change. Because the Creator made it so. Imagine somebody who fly from heaven to earth, who get angry. They were fighting. They were fighting on who is going to be the king of their planet, Nibiru. While fighting of who is going to be the king of their planet, Nibiru, with emotions, they come to become your God. Why do they call themselves God and still recognize there is creator of all things? Think about it. Make it make sense. Go and read the book of Anunnaki, the story of Anunnaki. The story of Anunnaki. If you read that book, even though the book, there are lies that is told within the book, because the book was actually taken away for a very long time and brought back. So, the same way Bible went through a remodification process, Bible was taken away and brought back. So I want to, if you have opportunity to read that book, you will understand that they referred to, they also talked about the creator of everything, but they call themselves gods. God Enki, Lord Enki, Lord this, Lord that. They were. We are time travelers. You might put it that way if it is the way that makes you understand it further. You can call yourself a time traveler. Time doesn't mean anything. Time, you see, is creation. It is our creation. Time is creation. Time doesn't exist. That's why I tell you, in the absence of the sun and the moon, we blend back to the source, darkness. Even during the day, there is nothing like daytime and nighttime. It is artificial. It is because of the presence of light in our firmament, or above our firmament, or outside our dome. That's why we have day and night. If you switch the sun off, everywhere turn into darkness. That's why when you see they talked about eclipse of the sun and the moon, you find out the day becomes dark because the moon is going to block the sun. Everywhere blends back to the source. So there is no daytime, there is no nighttime. Time is an illusion. It is our creation. So let us continue talking about what we are talking about. We are talking about sentience and the dichotomy between the creator of all and atom, because I've been trying to understand exactly what can we, when you look at something or when you think about something, how do you understand the way the creator actually will be or will think or will be presented? I think about atom, because atom has sentience, but it is muted. That's why a scientist will tell you that atom does not have sentience, but things that comes from atom can have sentience. Can have sentience. The same way, if we talk about the source, the sentience there is muted. That's why things that comes from the source have sentience, because sentience gives you ability to feel, ability to be conscious, ability to have emotions, to respond. So that is sentience, ability to be emotional. So the judge of all cannot have emotion. The judge of all cannot use emotion, because if the judge of all use emotion, because if we understand us as human, emotion is our actually demise. Emotion is our downfall. It's our weakness. Being emotional. That's why we don't judge uprightly, because we are emotional. That is it. Because this could suggest that sentience and self-awareness are outcome of the evolutionary or creative process which was initiated by that original source, which will also raise an intriguing, which will also raise an intriguing question about the nature of consciousness. Because the relationship between creator and created, and how sentience being derive meaning and purpose from their origins. The line of thought can lead to discussion about the evolution of consciousness, the emergence of life, and the potential interconnectedness of all beings in existence, including the universe. The interconnectedness, everything is connected to each other. Everything. Just like you see what you see here. What you see here. What you see here. everything is connected to each other. Both those things that does not have consciousness, everything is connected to the source. Both your creation and, you connected came from the one source, including the hybrids, including the devil that is under our ground, or the gods that are under our ground. They came from one source. That's why the Bible talks about fallen ones. Fallen ones. Those who were given the knowledge of metaphysics, the knowledge of quantum physics, and the knowledge of astrophysics. Those who knows about the universe, they were supposed not to have sentience. They began to grow sentience. They began to evolve, and they began to go against the law of nature. And that's why nature dropped them, rejected them. They began to be the god of human being. They began to be the god of the lower vibration. That's why you think about the, when the Bible talk about Satan or the devil, those are the people defiling the law of nature, the law of universe. And that law, the code bends for no one. It doesn't matter what you are. As long as you define that law, the repercussion occurs. The repercussion must occur. So the repercussion of the devil was that it was cast down from this higher source, from where it is positioned. It is a knowledge. That's why people ask God, if you know you are omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, why did you not take this power from this man? You can never take this knowledge that I have. The only way you can take this knowledge that I have is until I am unalived. And they have knowledge to live longer. So it is a knowledge. It is not that power. I give you this power, receive it, and you throw it like a something like a lightning, and it comes to me. No, it is a knowledge. What makes the devil higher is because he knows better than you. When you know and know, that's why it prevents you from knowing. That's why it indoctrinates you that you will never know. Because once you are able to know, you figure out everything. You begin to, you know that there is higher source. You will know that there is higher source. And you will know that there is law that is not bendable for anyone. And that law, if you defile that law, the repercussion comes, and it is, dire. It comes like severely to you. If you unalive something, if you unalive someone, you will be unalived. Or they will take something you love the most, which is your child. That's the way it is. If you decide that you want to do wrong to other people, you will receive it, if not that time that you are doing it, but at a later stage, you will definitely receive it. Because the source does not work with sentience. There is no emotion. There is no consciousness. So, the source is working as per the law he created. That's how you react. That's why you must understand your purpose. You must understand that you are not answerable to any God, but you are answerable to one law, the law of nature. That's why the source made that law. It is already there. Obey the law of nature. Obey the law. What goes around comes around. If you do unto others what you want others to do to you, that is the law. If you like people taking over your wife, take over people's wife. That is the law. But if you don't like people taking over your wife, don't take over people's wife. Don't take things that doesn't belong to you. because you don't like it when it's done to you. That is law of nature. That's where we get our power from. If we begin to understand and obey these laws, everything will fall into place. Everything will fall into place. That is the only limitation we have if we begin to do this law. Because in the context, we might consider quantum physics as another god. In the context, we might consider atom. In the context, we might consider atom. We might consider atom because if we understand atom in quantum phenomena lack sentience, but operate according to the laws of physics. It lacks sentience, right? But still operate according to the laws of physics, but devoid of awareness and intention. Devoid of awareness and intention, because immediately when it embraces awareness and intention, that's when it will no longer obey the law of physics. That's why we are not obeying the law of physics. Sorry, the law of nature. In those fields, they are called the law of physics. Here we are called the law of nature. So, because in this context, we might consider quantum physics as another God that governs the behavior of matter. Do you hear that? Quantum physics we consider as another God that governs the law of, or the behavior of matter, or you call it matter. Matter, it doesn't matter which one you call it, it's M-A-T-T-E-R. Because it is actually a fundamental level, right? Because matter is it's actually, the building blocks. The building blocks. Now, if we see quantum physics as another God that governs the behavior of matter, because it creates the law, it is the law. It is the law. That therefore the matter actually abide by this law in quantum physics. That's why we make use of these things in order to, if you actually understand the law of physics, that's why you are able to create a combustion engine today. That's why you are able to create anti-gravity today. That's why you understand the equanimity in every computer system you have. That's why there is microchip, because you understand the law of physics. You understand the law of physics. That's what we are talking about. Quantum physics is another God that governs the behavior of matter at a fundamental level, yet similar to the atoms that precede it. Did you hear that? It is similar to the atom that precede it. Quantum mechanics does not engage with sentience. Instead, it provides a framework that underlies the complexity of consciousness in higher forms of life. The interplay of these forces gives rise to sentient beings who are capable of reflecting, or who are capable of knowing that they are in existence, capable of thinking, capable of procreation, capable of doing other things, capable of being God, understanding, emotions, Now, when we go to this theology that has been the problems of our lives, because theology has been the problems of our lives, when we actually, go through that route of theology, or we go through, when we want to define it in theological perspective or divinity, we understand that the source or the divinity is incomprehensible. It is something that is unfathomable. It is difficult for you to understand him. That's why we're going to talk about this divinity and its incomprehensibility. Because in theology, God is often described as a higher being, transcending human understanding. Remember, what we are defining is not necessarily God. We are defining the primary, the source of everything. Like I said initially, that God can be you and I. Anything that came out of the primary, that has ability to procreate, can be called God. That's why there are gods, those who obtain more higher understanding of the reality of existence or understanding of universe, proclaim themselves to be God. And that's why you don't know which one you are calling their names. Why do you think it was important for the church to change all these things and the teaching of the book? Why was it important for the church, the Council of Nicaea, to introduce those after unaliving Christ? Remember, after unaliving Christ, but we're coming to the Christ reality. Because in theology, God is often described as a higher being, transcending human understanding and existing beyond the physical realm. This divine entity is typically attributed with qualities such as omniscience, omnipotence. However, the nature of God's sentience varies across different religious tradition. Because it is in religion that many might be talking about the same thing but contradicting each other, and they will never come to terms. They don't have one understanding of that thing, because religion is all about indoctrination. Indoctrinate these people in their different way, indoctrinate that people in their different way, use the same book that has the truth, physics of words, use it, teach them in different ways. Try to understand and ask yourself, why is it important for you to go to theology before you become a pastor or reverend? According to Catholicism, which is one of the first, or if not the first ever church that comes in existence, why do you need to go to church? Go to theology, theology school before you become a priest? When you have pass through, normal education system that enables you to read and understand. Why through theology? Many may argue that it is for you to understand, the spirituality or the divinity and how to, present it to the people. Who told you that you need to that somebody need to write about how to present it? You don't need to write about how to present it. Where did they get it from? When there is a book that you read and analyze, why do you need to go through a particular indoctrination called theology for you to know how to read and understand or read and explain this book? That actually, is an evidence that indoctrination is real. Indoctrination is real. Because in these religious beliefs, some view God as a personal being with emotions. Some view God as personal being with emotion. Why do you think that God have emotion? Those believe that God is that being that has emotion. Just like they told us about Christ, he came to a place where people are selling on a Sunday or on a Saturday. He beat up everyone and everyone because he got angry, because he was emotional. You see the way they turn everything upside down. God does not have emotions. That's why the law cannot be binding for anybody. Regardless of whom you are, the law is the law. That's the way it is. It is human being that has emotion that becomes the protector of the law in your various countries, and because of their emotions, they can bend the law to suit their own, their own, whatever they want to do. They can make the law to suit whatever they want to become. So that's because they have emotions. Now, there are religions that believe that God is a being that has emotions and intentions. God does not have intentions. He does not work with intention. He encompasses all that. He encompasses all that. But it is not active because he cannot judge with emotions. The same way you understand that atom encompasses sentience, but it does not have it. But things that come from it has the ability to evolve into having sentience. We use things within us to understand the unknown, because we all came from the unknown, but there are things within us that gives us clue of what the unknown, the behavior of the unknown. And they also believe that he is incomprehensible. He is an incomprehensible force that governs the universe without engaging in human-like awareness. He does not engage in human-like awareness. Because if he engaged in human-like awareness, he will become a consuming fire. When they talk about he is a consuming fire, it means that there is time for everything. He has already established that which is the law of nature. Time to deal with you as per your own sins, as per your own doings, as per your own sowing. Because everything you sow, you shall reap. That's what makes him a consuming fire. It is already there. It is what he encompasses. It doesn't need to revoke it. No, it's already there. He encompasses all of it, all of this. You cannot get good without having bad. It is through bad you know that the existence of good. It is already there. Everything is present. But not everything is conscious. Everything is present, but not all of them are conscious or sentient. That's the way I believe that you will understand it better. Because from the perspective, one could argue that the source of creation, whether viewed as atoms, quantum law, or a divine being, does not possess sentience in a way that is meaningful to us. Instead, it is through the rise of sentience, or it is through the rise of sentience being, particularly figures like Christ in Christian theology. Christ in Christian theology, that humanity gains insight into the divine, the incarnation of Christ embodies both the divine and the human aspect. Now, if it actually embodies both the divine and human aspect, bridging the gap between the impersonal forces of the universe and the personal relationship that believers seek with the source. Now, if we want to actually talk about Christ, from my own research and understanding of Christ's story that was presented to us by the Council of Nicaea, or by the church, you will understand that the reason why God, because many people will ask, why is it that God have to send someone to die so that he can forgive the sins of his creation? That's a question that many people ask, right? Why does he need to send someone to die that he may forgive the sins of the world? But Christ can be seen also as a pivotal event he can be seen as a pivotal event in this exploration of sentience and divinity. Because now when we talk about we're going to actually dip into Christian beliefs. We're going to dip into Christian belief before we come to the reality and the truth about it. In many Christian belief, God's love and moral guidance providing a personal connection to the divine. This incarnation may suggest that while the fundamental forces of the existence may lack awareness, fundamental forces of existence may lack awareness, God chose to become manifest in a way that allows for the relationship and understanding, because when we think about the significance of this event, it lies not only in its theological implication, but also in its philosophical resonance, which will now prompt us to reflect on the nature of consciousness and the purpose of existence, which, if we can actually decipher the purpose of our existence, we are going to be a perfect being that will reach to the highest consciousness of being of holiness. If we reach to the highest consciousness of holiness, the pain will be gone. The hellfire is done. Because what we are here in this material world, we must reach to the highest consciousness of holiness. Once we reach to the highest consciousness of holiness, every suffering, every pain, every psychological trauma, every indoctrination will disappear. It will disappear. That is the consciousness and the purpose of our existence. Because if the source of creations are non-sentient, the emergence of sentience, life becomes an essential aspect of the universe narrative, leading to questions about morality, purpose, and the human experience. Before we go into the reality of Christ and his, purpose and how the church changed that narrative or the story or the reality of the existence, let us summarize because intercession of science, philosophy, and theology, the exploration of sentience and divinity reveals the intricate connections between physics, metaphysics, and theology. All these things are basically or mostly the same, but teaches in different ways. Theologians teaches are supposed to be, or remember, physics studies are actually the way we are learning them. It's actually the way it is difficult for us to connect to it. Physics studies, that's why we think about metaphysics, physics, theology, astrophysics, and all those things we are being taught wrongly. That's why when you see the physicians or physicists and scientists, you might see them as anti the source or anti-nature or anti-Christ. That's why we always see ourselves as or we always see those physicists or anti-Christ, because when we talk about Big Bang theory, they define it in the way that it will suit them. They will not tell you the rightful way that it should go. Theology, the same thing. Theologians are supposed to be the teachers of this word, the physics of words. Physicists, the teachers of the physics of numbers that forms equations. Theologians analyze the words, the physics of words. That's why you call the book, the Bible, a physics of words. Physics is not necessarily a bad thing. It's understanding our existence and our universe, understanding the behavior of everything in our universe and making use of it to procreate. Making use of it to procreate and help the existence. Physics and theology, they are the same, but they are in conflict with each other. They are the same, but in conflict with each other. Because one is words, one is numbers. Now, when we come to the cosmological understanding, just like Tabang talks in the comment section, we talked about the study. When we understand the study of our universe, how our Earth is, as some people say, it orbits around the sun, as some people may say it is stationary, as some people may understand that it is being held by a dark matter. When we understand the behavior of our universe, everything within our universe, and how they interplay with each other, that's how people begin to understand how to manufacture stuff. How to manufacture stuff. Like combustion engine, like anti-gravity plane, aeroplane. But when they place all this understanding in numbers that form equations, it becomes very difficult and it does not interest you, because they hide it in a code that they have to create this education system that you have to undergo for your almost 20 years of your life, while you are being you are paying money, buying books, buying handouts, buying everything coming from the same people. The malevolent made everything so difficult for us, which is what the Bible called the Satan, the devil. because he doesn't want us to know what he knows. Because if we know what he knows, he cannot challenge us. He cannot make use us anymore. And if we know what he knows, we don't need him to teach us anything that works against the nature. Because the science that, or the mechanics that we are actually introducing is the mechanics that is anti-nature. It is anti-nature. That's why people will tell you that carbon emission and the combustion engine is cracking the ozone layer, therefore bringing about global warming. Because it is the technology of the devil that is destroying, that is affecting the nature. And everything that you do, because this technology modifies the nature, the natural ways, it modifies it. Now, the malevolent wants you, because he knows that numbers and equation is very difficult for you to understand. Therefore, you need to spend years and years and years and years and years in school. Even sometimes you will abandon that course because you cannot understand these numbers that forms equation, which is the code that could be made a word. Right? It's a code that could be made a word. We know H is hydrogen, right? Why do we need to call it H? We can have all the time write it hydrogen. We can all the time write hydrogen. We know C is carbon. If we add CO2, maybe we see carbon dioxide. Or carbon monoxide. We know these things exist, but why do we need to create this one, alphabet that represents them? We could always call it carbon. Everywhere we see it, we call it carbon. We don't need to say CO2 and then we bring parentheses and we write maybe 13 and the opposite parentheses. Now we go to another one, we write H, we go to parentheses, write 13, which talks about, we know if we write C and parentheses, 5, it is talking about carbon with like 5 molecular, so why can't we just write CARBON, then write, contains, 5 molecular. Why can't we do that way? Why can't we actually, bring it in that way instead of writing? Because when we start looking at our periodic table, if we are able to write everything, if we can start writing everything in full, and not using all these abbreviations and numbers and codes, it will be easier for you to understand. We don't need to go through education of 20 years for you to understand or be perfect in knowing all these things. But they have to hide it in numbers that form equation in order to hide it from you. The power that holds the universe is the power of physics. And physics is actually something that is supposed to be study of natural studies. It is part of the natural phenomena. It is not something that is invented by something else. Because understanding physics very well, it means that we are going to understand our universe. It is the study. All of them falls. That's why you talk about astrophysics, you talk about physics, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, all of them falls under physics. Because even theology is physics. But that's what we cannot actually, understand. Now they continue to conflict each other. They continue to fight with each other. Physicists might come and tell you there is no God, because they are able to understand that. Maybe they are able to understand that there is matter. If they tell you there is no God, ask them. In fact, it is not called God. It is called the source. Ask them, if there is no God, how come you cannot understand dark matter? If there is no God, how come, or the highest source, because we are God. I keep on using it because that's where you understand it. If there is no highest source, the creator of everything, which is the highest source, there are gods, they came from him. So if there is no that highest source, which created everything, how come they can't understand dark matter? Because if they can understand dark matter, it is finished. It means that there is higher source. There is the creator of all. Nothing came from nothing. We never came from nothing. We all came from one source. We all just came from one source. And we continue to multiply. Everything, interconnectedness, yes, quantum entanglement, the drop in the ocean has the same material process as the ocean. Exactly, the interconnectedness. That is what we call quantum entanglement. Everything is connected with everything. So, now when we begin to actually approach the understanding of divine, the rise of the figure like Christ underscores the importance of personal connection to the divine. Personal connection to the divine, because that's the only thing that the malevolent is taking away from us. And what will the only thing that connects us to anything that we have to be connected to, it's our brain. Our brain is the divine path of our lives. Our brain is the conductor between us and our dark matter. It's our brain. Because why every indoctrination, what part of our brain does it mostly affect? It is our pineal gland. That's why the pineal gland is called the third eye. The third eye. It does not have eyeballs visible, but it is what actually connects us to our source. Connect us with our source. Indoctrination gives us lower vibration that we are not going to vibrate enough to connect to the higher source. Indoctrination makes us to embrace the material world that we are living in and forgetting that we all have a purpose that we are here for. Indoctrination prevents us from the vibration that takes us to the holiness that we are here to actually acquire. Because the devil, everything that the devil or the malevolent or Satan, as you may know it, is fighting is for us not to, reach or understand our purpose or reach to that level of holiness, as many may call it, or level of wholeness and holiness, which will help us to, get to the higher level of our life, higher level of our consciousness. That's why, as we are heading to the age of Aquarius, as we are heading to the age of knowing, the malevolent is implementing and introducing things that will shorten our lifespan. And if our lifespan is shortened, it doesn't matter how much we know or how much you have discovered today. It doesn't matter, because you will not live to tell your children or to educate your children Rather, your children will continue to go through this set of indoctrination, this particular indoctrination that we all went through. Indoctrination is similar to colonialism. They are the same. They are the same. It shut down your pineal gland. It's shut down. People see the third eye here, but it's deep inside our brain. That it shuts it down. Oppression, fear of the of the unknown, fear of hellfire, fear of everything lowers the vibration. So once it affects that indoctrination, once it affects the pineal gland, it goes to sleep. The only thing that will wake it up again is every day hearing the truth. Every day hearing the truth. They wired Tabang. Do you want to say they wired the brain to be evil? I think there is typo in what you did here. So, if you begin to hear the real truth every day, that is exactly what will make the pineal gland to be awoken. Remember, your church or religiosity will tell you that the third eye is witchcraft. So that you will understand that the indoctrination is real. They tell you the third eye is a witchcraft. But that's not the case, and never the case. Third eye is the pineal gland. It is part of your brain that connects you to the higher source, that gives you the vibration. There is a frontal lobe. There is a frontal lobe that enables you to articulate, to do analysis of everything you see. All of this part of the brain, there is this, this part of the brain on the side that enables you to know the taste of things that you put in your mouth. So there are different parts of our brain and they are working differently. The pineal gland is actually what, connects you or wires you to the highest source. If the vibration is not coming accordingly, you will not be able to ascertain or to obtain that level of wholeness and holiness that connects you back to the source and grants you access to be whole, and you will no longer lack anything. That's why, if you read the book, it talks about if you are in God. Remember that God they put there, it is the malevolent that changed it in the book. If you are in God, you will not lack anything. It simply means if your pineal gland connect to your star, to the source where you come from, you are going to be whole and holy. All these things of let's go and be a bad president to make money. Let's go and unalive people to make money. Let's go and steal things that doesn't belong to us. Let's go and do these things. It will no longer be part of you. Now, if we talk about the consciousness of Christ, some may say that Christ came as a result or because the source cannot make use of sentience, consciousness, or emotions. Christ came into the picture because Christ embodies, the source actually, take a body of his creation in order to send a message. And when we talk about that is the religious perspective that I just said. But in that religious perspective, they are not even putting it in a way that you may understand it. They are not putting it in a way that you may understand it. Remember that the source might not exhibit sentience or consciousness or emotions, but the creation from the source can exhibit sentience and which create emotions and stimulus. Now, if we understand it that way, we will know that if we want to analyze Christ as that being who came to die for the sake of our sins, and at the end of the day, he was unalived. That's exactly what we, how we think about the Christ in theological perspective. But now, in the reality, Christ is not actually somebody who came, born of Joseph and Mary. No. Christ was the consciousness that was detached or that was unalived in human being. That is the consciousness of whole and holiness. That was Christ that we talk about. That's what the church destroyed in all of us, especially the originals, not the hybrids. The original with loads of melanin and darkness has connection with each other. Melanin and darkness has connection with each other. Those that possess the consciousness of Christ before the fallen angel, before the rise of the church, Council of Nicaea, which is the malevolent created by the devil, which takes the form or takes the consciousness or take a form of human and created religion. The thing they were able to destroy, it is called unaliving human. Because immediately they destroy that consciousness, that Christ consciousness in those humans. That is the meaning of Christ died. He came and took the human form, and he died and was crucified, and he rise again. Rising again talks about futuristic event, which that consciousness is going to come back to humanity, that human being will be made whole and holy. That is the consciousness of Christ. That is the consciousness of Christ. It is the consciousness that we are deprived. It was taken away by force. It was unalived, inhuman. It is not necessarily somebody born by Mary and somebody died that was unalived by the church, by Roman Empire. But the rulers of Roman empires were gods. They were gods, malevolent, the devil, aka. Those were the rulers of Roman Empire. There are some rulers of this world that we are seeing today. I want you to know that every ruler of this world, every leader of this world belong to a secret organization that tells them what to do. Direct and indirect. That is what is called foreign policy, or that is what creates actually, not necessarily foreign policy. That is what is pushing for globalization rather. Not foreign policy. That is what is pushing for globalization. Every leader of this world is connected to a secret society that is led by the malevolent, and that's why they cannot do things that will work in your favor. But as much as they are connected to the malevolent, or they are belonging to that secret organization, remember, it is not them that belong to this organization willingly or willy-nilly. No, well, not necessarily willy-nilly. This organization actually, forced them, because the seat of first citizen of every country belong to the organization. So it doesn't matter what you come from, where you come from. Once you sit on that seat, take the oath of office, you are initiated automatically. So you will do and work according to the system. But now, those who used to embody that consciousness from the source, which is called Christ or Yeshua, those who used to embody such consciousness are being, they are kept on the periphery. They are those who the malevolent is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that they do not, connect back to that consciousness, because those, once they are able to connect to that consciousness, those malevolent, they will no longer, have power or dominion over humanity anymore. Because what is depriving us from connecting to that consciousness is the material world. I want to make money. I want to be rich. I want to be powerful. I want to be, I want to be this. I want to be that. And you want to be powerful because you are chasing, of course, you have to, acquire fiat money created by malevolent, because those who possess that Christ consciousness, they were not into fiat money. Rather, they are into trade by barter. Remember, if I don't have, I share with you, you share with me. What I don't have, I give you what I have, you give me what you have. It's a consciousness. It is taken away by policies and laws. So, when we understand such, you know that all you need to work hard is to have something that is meaningful. Go to your farm. If your farm produces apple and mine produces orange, you can give me some of your apple, I give you some of my orange. Balance, equanimity. That's where the balance comes in. Equal and opposite reaction. So that's exactly, what the consciousness has been all about. Because they created this narrative as the devil is busy dealing with you, or the malevolent is busy dealing with you, aka Satan, is busy dealing with you, you will continue to wait for somebody to fall from sky to come and unalive the devil for you to change, or for you to, start thinking, in a way that is favorable to nature and to you, or to human, in a way that brings love and understanding amongst humanity. You will be waiting. You might wait all your lives. What you are going to chase after is to connect back to the consciousness which is called Christ. Once you are able to connect back to that consciousness, you will do good. You will be made whole and holy. Those are the things theologians will not tell you. Those are the things physicists will not tell you, or scientists will not tell you. And once you connect to Christ consciousness, that's when miracles begin to happen. That's when you know that you don't need to go to hospital to heal. That's when you know that Christ touched somebody with leprosy and they heal. It's a vibration. It's brain that works all that. But you need to connect the brain to the consciousness. You need to actually train the brain to connect to that consciousness, to the source, where it came from. Once you connect the brain to where it came from, miracles begin to occur. When you are sick, you just need to meditate. The brain sends signals, the frequency that will heal that particular place that is sick. Because malevolent deals with fiat money, they have to introduce everything that affects the body, and you might not be aging if you connect to that consciousness. Because what actually makes us to age, indoctrination that brings stress, fear. Those are the things that make us to age and die fast. And that is the plans of the malevolent. Once you are able to know today, tomorrow you die, You are not going to live longer to tell the children the story. The reason why we heard the history, when we talk about the Abiam, or Abraham that we hear from the Bible, or when we talk about the story of the ones they call Solomon and all these people, Methuselah and all these people who lived longer. Remember, during their time, they lived longer. They were able to tell their story. They were able to pass that consciousness to their next generation. But once your life is cut short, and that's what has been happening, it has been happening to us. You will understand that in the first century, human being might live up to 500 years, or if small, 250 years. Human being live longer. Second century, the malevolent continue to plan, deplete that lifespan, bring it down, because if we are able to, realize the history, we shape the future the way it must be. That's why the ancient technology is actually unfathomable. Ancient technology, the ancient technology, just like when we think about the Pyramid of Giza, that people are still imagining how was it built, like that confusion. Because everything in the past will give you a hint of what you are going to face in the future, because it does not change. What happens today happens yesterday. What happens yesterday will happen tomorrow. It is the same time. There is no time. Time doesn't exist. Time is an illusion. So everything keep repeating itself, keep repeating, but you need to remember yesterday to shape tomorrow. That's why the malevolent want you not to remember yesterday, so that tomorrow will be difficult for you to actually, solve the mystery of tomorrow. It doesn't want you to know yesterday that you may not solve tomorrow. Because if we are going to actually discuss or talk about the consciousness of the one they call Jesus, which is actually not, immediately when they call it Jesus and present somebody, or present light, present him in a light, and present him in somebody with blue eyes, which actually, shows you or raise a question, or as per, why will he come as a secondary instead of primary? Because if we understand the importance of melanin in our body, it's a shield. It's actually, if we understand that gray and green eyes, they are recessive, but black and brown, they are dominant. How then can, the source come as a secondary instead of coming as primary? Make it make sense. Does that make sense? It doesn't. It is through us, it is through the melanated people that less melanated people were born. And less melanated people came as a result of the fallen, and the mixture of the fallen and the earthlings, humanity. That's where we begin to see people with less melanin. That's where we begin to see people with no soul. Because of the rise of malevolent. Because the malevolent want to do everything opposite to nature. And nature is the source. They want to do everything opposite against the nature, whilst nature is the source. And now it continues to affect those who depend on nature to thrive. Like we. So, if the nature or the source, which you know as Almighty God, the creator of all, if the nature decides to create human, the malevolent will want to create human that will rule over the natural human. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to promote hate or anything, but at the end of the day, every human is coming from the same source, because the same source created the malevolent. The same source created the malevolence, but there is something I am trying to actually make you understand. The original became the fake, and the fake becomes the original. The source or the creator of all became God, while the God became the creator of all. That's how they turned everything upside down. That is indoctrination. That's why we began to vilify darkness, because darkness is natural, is primordial state of creation. Vilifying darkness is vilifying the source, is vilifying the original, because from darkness light came forth. Let there be light. From darkness, let there be light. And light came forth. Right? Light is artificial. Light is artificial. Indoctrination makes us to believe that everything comes from light. No. Light is there. Light is there to help the creation, not the creator. Light has nothing to do with the creator, because if light has anything to do with the creator from the beginning, light should be there. Light should be the first thing, the primordial state of the creation. Remember, light is artificial. It has nothing to do with the existence of the source. It has nothing to do with the source. But the creator knows that his creation will need light and darkness, because light enables them to function during what we call during the day, which is an illusion, and darkness will enable them to, introspect, will enable them to refuel, will enable them to charge, produce more melatonin that activates the pineal gland. Remember, if darkness produce melatonin that enables the body clock to function properly, that's when, because if you lack sleep, you become a zombie, right? And if it is during the day all the time, I don't think you will be able to fall asleep. That's why the source reserved that nature, that his image, to be the time of introspection, the time to connect, the time to replenish, the time to vibrate, the time to project. That's why most people who do out-of-body experience does it at early hours of the morning, where everywhere is calm, where there is, darkness. Those who do astral projection does it only in early hours of morning, right? Where there is calmness, where melatonin is actually, created more or generated more from the pineal gland. That's when you go to the dreamland. That's when people who see vision, mostly see vision, early hours of the morning. Those who see vision will be able to see vision. Those who really see vision, because some people, they are seeing their stress or their previous life. They will call it the I see, I saw. So, but that's not what we are talking about. So what we are talking about, you say, can you give me example of out-of-body activities? Astral projection. Out-of-body activities, astral projection, it is actually letting your dark matter out to explore the astral plane, the other side. You know, that's exactly what shows us that we do not die, because we can let it out. But what connects us to that, you know, dark matter that we are letting out, what connects us to it? And when we let it out, there is no time. There is no more time. Time does not matter. Time is no longer in existence when you let it out. Because it is our body that knows time, that works with time and knows space. When you let it out, there is no time, there is no space. You are able to actually manipulate time and space. You can go from wherever you are to wherever you want to go. You can go anywhere because you are now a matter, a dark matter. You are actually, you can go anywhere. Darkness is quite good. Darkness is primordial state of creation. They taught you that darkness is not good because they want to vilify the people of dark skin, the original creation of the source. That's why they told you that darkness is evil. Think about it. Black encompasses all colors. Black is the primary colors that encompasses all colors. If you want to actually find out what I'm saying, get a marker. If you have a marker right now, a water-based marker that is black, water-based, not permanent marker, water-based marker, you know, use that marker, write it on a filter paper, you know, maybe drop a little amount of water into it, or let water drain into that, you know, what you have written or scribbled on that filter paper. You will see the many colors will come out of it, because black encompasses all colors. Rainbow comes as a, you know, rainbow comes as a result of darkness. Rainbow comes as a result of darkness and rain, because once water touches darkness, it shows its color. So that's how rainbow comes. So when we are talking about darkness, darkness is divine, not light. You cannot equate divine with artificial. Darkness is natural. It was not created. It was there pre-creation. That's why it is divine, the image of the Creator himself. So let us make a man in our own image. How were we? The first man that was made was as dark as charcoal. He was melanated man. You know, astral projection is quite simple, but you must know the pros and cons of astral projection. You know, because if you astral project, you are going to meet different creatures, different beings. How do you navigate your time? Some of them might not like you, right? So, we will talk about astral projection, but not today, not today. But astral projection is very, you know, it is quite easy. It is quite easy. It is letting your body, your brain, your mind to rest, and you begin to make a move. Anywhere you think about being, you will be there. There is no time. You will be able to manipulate time and space. That is to show you that, but the only thing that keeps your body alive while you are out of body, while you are exploring the out-of-body experience, the only thing that keeps your body alive or connected is what is called the silver cord between your dark matter and your physical matter, which is you, your body, your car. Because your body is a car that drives you. Once the car is damaged beyond repair, you move on. You are passing through the tunnel of white light. From there, you might find yourself in a dark place for introspection. From there, you might find yourself in front of different beings. You go through another, cycle of rebirth, and you come back. So that's exactly what we need to understand. The silver cord connects us to the body, but immediately when the body is damaged beyond repair, the silver cord is no longer there. It is disconnected. Therefore, the soul is on its own until it is allocated to a new body, and a new body comes out. And the day the new body is going to arrive, the soul, the silver cord is already connected to that, from that body to the soul. Because the soul is not inside the belly, but the body has the connection of the silver cord inside the belly. But inside that belly, immediately on the day of birth, seconds after birth, that's when you find out the consciousness arrives. The dark matter arrives into your body, which is whom you are. Because your body is a car. Once it is damaged beyond repair, if you are still alive, you buy another one. Right? That's the way it is. We do it like this. The same thing you do yesterday, the same thing you do tomorrow, the same thing you do next tomorrow. It keeps on happening, replicating. It keeps on repeating. That's the way it is. But the malevolent want us to continue to be unalive on time so that we don't live to tell the history, to tell our children how they will navigate a particular problem which they might face, because it is all the same thing. What you see today, what you are seeing today, if you wake up today, tomorrow you go 9 to 5. The only thing that changes, the only time ever things changes is the time when there is the time of awakening, which people are going to know. Now you don't need to depend on a boss or a capitalist to create employment for you. You will know the importance of going back to land and farming, going back to farm, agriculture, producing the food that you are eating, because you have to produce what you eat. You don't need to buy it. If you don't have much, you give that person who have more, they give you the one that you don't have, so that it will be organic. It will be organic. Because the first thing the malevolent introduced to unalive us is inorganic food. Inorganic food. Then the next is pharmaceutical. Because once they introduce inorganic food, they know that we are going to be falling sick, and it is going to, first of all, indoctrination. From indoctrination, inorganic food. From inorganic food, pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical gives you drugs that that create more illnesses in you. I'm not saying that you should stop using pharmaceutical, because they are, in the present situation of ours, they are still the only solution. In our present situation, pharmaceutical is still the only solution until we know, until we wake up, until the pole shift, until apocalypse, until we wake up and connect back to that which we consider Christ. Because that which we consider Christ may not be a historical figure who became human, but rather as a consciousness or archetype representing a connection to a divine source. Several implication arises. Universal archetype, the perspective position Christ as a universal symbol of spiritual awakening and connection rather than a singular historical individual. It emphasizes the idea that many can embody this consciousness. Spiritual desiccation That is exactly what they did. That is the death of Christ, which they celebrate. Because the story does not align. The birth of Christ, the death of Christ, it does not align. You will find out that awakening and the consciousness always come during the time of renewal. The time of renewal, where everything is being renewed. That's why those who understand the birth of Christ will understand the truth was not told. As you know, even those who are saying, who understand it as a figure who came to actually be, to die for the sins of humanity. They tell you he was born when? 25th of December, which is a lie. If we talk about him in a singular human perspective, we will talk about the renewal time, the spring season. Is always the time of renewal, the spring season, where everything comes back alive. That is the time of renewal. That is exactly why it was important for them to disjoint, change the story, tell their own. So they desiccated that consciousness. It is not necessarily, Christ did not necessarily die and crucified. Remember, he rose up after days, right? He rose up. That suggests, that told you that that days is futuristic event when we are going to know the truth that will set us free, and we are going to connect back. And now, remember, desiccation does not necessarily mean that he died. Maybe he's sleeping. Fast asleep until we actually wake up to the reality that this is a consciousness that we can embrace. Just one moment. Let me... Okay, welcome back. Please, guys, tap the screen. Let's keep on moving. Tap the screen. So, when we are talking about Christ, it is us connecting back to the source, where we are going to be made whole, where we are going to, be what the source is like. We are going to do everything uprightly. We are going to connect to the nature. We are going to, the nature is going to work for us, work, for our good, not work against us. The nature works against us because we are working against the law of nature. That's why the nature works against us. Because if we talk about the desiccated consciousness, because we can say that those consciousness was desiccated, it was not unalived. Because you cannot unalive a consciousness, you can put it to sleep. You can just put it to sleep, just like our pineal gland is being put to sleep. Some people call it third eye. It's put to sleep. Now, which actually might symbolize the loss of connection to, or which symbolizes the loss of connection, the loss of connection to the divine or the spiritual essence within humanity. The spiritual essence within humanity that symbolizes the death of that which they call Christ. It is the loss of connection to this divine and spiritual essence within humanity. This prompts reflections on the human experience of disconnection from spirituality. Because if we understand that the connection, human connection to spirituality is desiccated and transformed, which is done through indoctrination and through the things we are shown in our TVs and what we hear in our radio station and what you hear every Sunday when you go to church, those are the things that desiccated the consciousness of Christ. That is the thing that unalive Christ. That's why Council of Nicaea introduced Christianity, Islam, etc. That's why they introduce all this, religion, while they continue to, create all this division and my God is bigger than your God. If you don't know my God, you are not going there. Instead of us, we are busy fighting about whose God is bigger, whose God is the real one, whose God is this, who God is... It is just the confusion. It is decoy. It is diverting of attention. We continue to fight against, if you don't accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, you will not do it. The other one will tell you that Muhammad is the last prophet and Jesus is not God. This argument keep on going, and whilst it's going, time is going. The malevolent continue to gain ground, to continue to desiccate that consciousness which we must embrace in order to connect to the highest source, the highest authority, where we came from, to call him Father and for him to call us son or daughter. We continue to fight with each other about whose religion is the real one and which one is unreal. Believe me, religion is born of physics. You see, physics and religion, they are the same. Theology and physics, they are the same. Theology deals with words. Physics deals with number that forms equation. That's it. That is it. That's the way it is. So if we can connect back to the spiritual essence within humanity, we are made whole and holy. And the reflection on the human experience of disconnection from spirituality, that's what symbolizes the death of Christ. Transformation of understanding things. Of course, because what they are actually telling us, remember that what we were told was actually, it is something that's why I told you they mix truth with lies. Remember that it is not everyone that is able to actually understand figurative words or physics of words. Not everyone will be able to understand it. The same way it is so difficult for some people to understand the numbers that forms equations, or to solve these equations that numbers form, which is physics. Remember, they did not say there is no, existence of that consciousness, but they said they put it in a metaphor. And now they send our pineal gland to sleep so that we cannot decipher the metaphor and connect back to the source. Because once we decipher the metaphor and analyze the metaphor, we connect back to the higher source. We are sorted. We will transcend this material world. We will be made whole and holy again. That is exactly what we need to understand and teach our children. We are God. Because you cannot equate God, whether small or capital letter, to the source, to the creator of all. You cannot. It is insultive, it is undermining, it is actually belittling. He is the creator of all. He is not God. God is his creation that rule over certain things. Those are God. God is those who are able to procreate. Those are God. So equating God or the source to God is insult to the source, to I am that I am. He has no beginning. He has no end. Calling him God is limiting him. That's why there is no amount of travel you will do within the surface of our earth for you to fall off. You can never fall off. There is no way you will travel through the sea that you will fall off. You won't fall off. It has no beginning. It has no end. It continues to expand. That's why you find out that, so you created your children. Do they call you God or Dad? They can call you God. But remember, theologians, religion has taken over God as the highest source. But you are God to your children. You created, you made them. If you desire, if you do withdrawal method, they will not come, right? So you made them. You are their God. You have ability to procreate. You are God. So you cannot equate God. When you turn it the other side, it becomes dog. You cannot equate it to the source through which everything emanated. We can't. It is actually belittling. Although many people understand, remember that when things is called a metaphor, when things are in a metaphor, people will, people will give their own opinion, different opinion. Opinion will never be, uniform. You will never have a uniform opinion. You will always have a diverse opinion. And with a diverse opinion, which one are you going to go for? That's why the malevolent was so smart, like super smart. Because after, malevolent knows a lot before he was cast down. Malevolent was like creation of God, the creation of the higher source, I am that I am, the creator of all. The creators, he created them and nurtured them, give them knowledge, give them, teach them physics. He taught them physics. He taught them chemistry. He taught them geography. He taught them geometry. He taught them all these things. That is the power they possess. That's how they are, they make use of matter. The malevolent might also know about dark matter. That's the only thing human being does not know about. Because if human being understand dark matter, human being might create human in a lab. You'll find human being created in a lab. That's the way it is. Of course, it might be happening. Cloning is almost like creating human in the lab. So, it is up to us right now to begin to look for the truth. While we can find it, because All these things of GMO is another means to shorten our lifespan. Remember, in the 18th centuries, it was still 150, 170, 150, 120, 120. No, if I say in the 16th centuries, it is still up to 150, 120, 150 years, 160. In the 18th centuries, it comes down to 130. Even people still live up to 135. 19th centuries, it continued to deteriorate. It begins to go to 120 minimum, 120, 125 minimum. 20th century, 100. 21st century, of course, lately in 25th century, we are living up to only 80. GMOs and the weather modification is going to lead our children to live only for 60 years. And the reason why it is called depopulation, the reason why it must be implemented in our world is to make us not to know history. Like I always say, history solves the future. History solves the future. Remember, if we obtain that consciousness that they call Christ and made whole and be made, if we are made whole and holy, we can easily make our children whole and holy. Because remember, our parents were colonized and we were colonized by our parents. That's the way colonization worked. It was our grandparents colonized. They colonized our parents. Our parents continued the colonization through the indoctrination and telling you to live in a certain way. That is how they expand all these things. So, if we are able to live up to at least 100 and, remember, human being could live up to 1,000 years. Human has the ability to live up to 1,000 years. It is in the history of humanity. Up to 1,000 years. Because the only reason why malevolent is always ahead of us is because malevolent live as much as they want. As much as they want. They live up to that. As much as they want. Now, if we live up to 1,000 years, imagine what we are going to know. We live up to the time of awakening, and we don't forget it, because if we are awakened now, our consciousness is awakened. We have connected to the consciousness of, what they call Christ. At the end of the day, they begin their indoctrination, all of us, because we have been given 60 years maximum in our lifespan. Then we all die off. Our children, there is no one who will live to tell the children the story or tell the new generation the story. That's why many in our generation today, we don't have old people who are able to remember the past to tell us how to work on the future. So once the history, because history scares the malevolent so much that they don't put history in your educational curriculum anymore. It becomes a special subject, special. And the reason why they make it special subject and now take it away from the curriculum is because they have to, indoctrinate history. So that when you are learning history, you are learning the wrong history. That's why if you are able to transcend that, indoctrination, you will begin to remember. You will begin to remember. Because once you are able to remember, everything will begin to make sense. That is remembering. Nostalgia. Everything will begin to make sense. Those things they hid in metaphor will begin to make sense to you. Numbers might not make sense to you. But words, metaphoric words, figuratives, will make sense to you. That's the way it is. And the reason why you see them naming some certain things fiction and conspiracy theory, because many of them, they will classify what I'm saying as conspiracy theory because they will tell you it is not scientifically proven. That's what they will call it. It is not scientifically proven. Now, the reason why they say that there is fiction, there is fact. Remember, fiction does not exist because what you call fiction is something that actually happened. People tell the story in a different way or in a metaphoric way. It is triggered, it is written at a trigger point. Every fiction is written at a trigger point. There is something that triggers that fiction stories that you are reading because that story is a lived experience of someone, a lived experience based on what they have experienced and see. That's what they call fiction because the way they narrate the story, they call it fiction. So that you will not understand this is history. They call it myth. You will not understand this is history. History scares the malevolent, the devil, so much. That's why our life is cut short. So this is actually where I am going to leave it. But we will meet again, definitely. I am supposed to come online Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. But I missed yesterday because yesterday I was in a program somewhere, but maybe we might do it twice tomorrow and then to complete for yesterday in the morning or during afternoon and in the evening. Then it will be actually, otherwise we will do it once, then we'll continue next Friday evening. African time, CAT and SAST, SAST. So it's always from, we'll normally start from, let's say if we're using CAT, we start around 8 p.m. CAT. If we are using SAST, we are starting at 9 p.m. So this is where we are going to leave it. My name on YouTube is Judge Money Blog Africa. Judge Money Blog Africa. So that's my name on YouTube. So this is where we are going to leave it until we meet again. Thank you for joining us. We cannot, have the inspiration to continue if you are not here. Thank you for joining us. After everything you have heard, do your independent research. The reason why we bring it and introduce it to you is for you to go further deep into research. Then it will begin to make sense to you. Because iron sharpens iron. Bye for now.